And good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to our weekly Learning Your Lunchtime webinar. Absolutely fantastic to have you on board. And today we are talking about blogging. So if you've been wanting to get a blog out there, if you've been wanting to just at least get some of your thoughts into the public domain, blogging is a fantastic, slightly more informal way of writing that helps you, either share your ideas and get your message out there. Perhaps you're an entrepreneur, perhaps you've been doing some research and some studies and you want to start sharing some of those findings. A blog is really a fantastic way of getting your thoughts out into the public domain so that you can get the input that you're looking for to continue being successful. And I've got Salil that'll be joining us in a few minutes to talk about a course that we've launched recently, which will teach you everything that you need to know about blogging. But I'm looking forward to interviewing Salil and finding out from him just the secrets of success for getting going with blogging. I've been doing blogging in my own personal and professional capacity. I have a blog on the Student Success Coach website, and hopefully many of you have been getting value from that. So warm welcome to everybody that's joining us today. Please do drop a note into the chat. Tell us where you're from today, what you'd like to learn. And if blogging is something that you're doing at the moment or something that perhaps you'd like to start doing, or maybe you're a little bit stuck, you did a couple of blog articles previously and you just haven't got into rhythm, or you don't know what you want to write about potentially, all of those things are, good topics and good questions for us to deal with today. I think some of the universities have started to go back either this week or next week. So we're not too sure how many of the university students we've got based on universities sharing these webinars with everybody, but it'll be really great to know where you're coming from, where you're based, whether you are at a local university in South Africa or overseas. Obviously, the Student Success Coach are always very focused on helping you be successful as a student. And perhaps next week we'll start to get into some of those core academic principles and training and coaching topics that many of you have valued and will need to be successful as a student going forward into your studies. All right, so let's see. Are there any questions coming through about blogging? Please do let us know what your questions are with regards to blogging. As I said, maybe you want to start a blog, maybe you've got a blog, maybe you're struggling to get it going. Then do just let us know what those questions are, and I'll put them to Salil as well in a few minutes when he's jumped online. But in the meantime, I think what would be fantastic is if we want to maybe just have a quick look. What I'll be doing is providing free access into the course shortly. So it would be fantastic if you would like to take that up, and let's at least just go and have a look at what is in the course to give you lots of value today. So you'll see there, for example, that I talk about my own blog on the Leadership Insights website. And there, starting from the perspective of having done this blogging idea for a number of years and having got over a lot of those hurdles of getting a blog going, I'm certainly teaching in this course from a perspective of experience, the ups and the downs, the difficulties, the challenges, what works, what doesn't work, etc. But as you can see there, like all my courses, we'll go through a bit of an introduction in the beginning and we'll help you understand, and this is where Salil will also play a role, and he's got lots of experience in terms of introducing you to the topic of blogging, getting you into the idea and the reasons for blogging, so that when you go through the journey, you've got a lot more insights about blogging. So I'd like to welcome Salil on that note. Just he was up on the screen there in our course. So Salil, absolutely fantastic to have you on board. And we've got some people that have joined us in the webinar today, which is fantastic. And we're looking forward to picking up on their questions shortly. And I was just playing our introduction to the course so that everybody knows and can see, I think what will structure our conversation today and really what we're going to be talking about, and certainly what we'll be able to provide access to during the session so that everybody can take action and get more information and go through the course. And what's, I think, a fantastic aspect of the course is that you'll really learn by doing. You'll be able to do an assignment where we'll get you to write your first blog. We'll actually teach you how to do that and get started. And really, the course is aimed at somebody at the earlier stage of their blogging journey. All right, so Salil, I think you're on board in the studio, in the hot seat. Let's then just come back to the course shortly in a couple of minutes, and I think just kick off then with a little bit of an introduction from yourself, your experience with blogging. And then why don't we just jump into that SEO question there, which you've got a lot of experience about and which you talk about in the course. So, Salil, introduce yourself, and then let's dive into Lebohang's question about SEO.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Peter. I've created just a brief definition would be I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've created multiple businesses, and I've also, started an online this course creation business with Peter now, and we've multiple courses on digital marketing, blogging, and all these topics. And I'd just love to dive right into the question of SEO, right? There's so much information about it, but a lot of it is not beginner friendly. Where can we learn about SEO? So let me just give you the information which is beginner friendly straight away. First thing is SEO is just primarily your way of getting your website to rank higher organically, right? On Google, the free results, that's SEO. Now, there are two kinds of SEO. One is on page and one is off page. On page is simply the things you can do on the page of the website itself to increase your results and improve your results. So what can that be? Title, right? That can be the keywords that you use. That can be H1, which is the first title, H2, which is the subheading. So all these things are on-page SEO. Now the best thing you can do is there's a thing called Yoast SEO. It's a simple plugin. Install it on your WordPress. You can do it on any Google Chrome extension. You can do it anywhere. But the idea is when you have an extension that does the SEO for you, it's not so much you have to learn SEO, you just have to execute what it is asking of you. So it'll tell you that if this is your focus, this is not the keyword you're using. Or if this is the keyword you're using, you can replace it with this keyword. And when you do a little more premium version of it, you already get everything you need to do in SEO without even learning SEO, right? So that's where the on page aspect of it is. It can be handled by any extension, any add on without requiring a degree or a course or anything. You can just learn it instantly. Now, when you move to off page SEO is basically telling Google that off the page that this page that we're talking about is a great page, it has authority, it has quality, and it can do wonders for you. And just please, Google, give me traffic because this page is relevant. It answers all the questions that the customers will be or the visitors will be asking. Now, in order to do that, there are multiple things you can do. One is there are again extensions related to with backlinks where they test the quality of the link, of people referring, all of that stuff. So you can do that with Yoast SEO as an extension, or you can use other extensions that do the backlinks aspect for you. Then we move on to collaborations. What you can do is you can collaborate with other people, or you can have them add your link, blog link to your link, saying more information go here, or this for this aspect information you can refer to this blog. So when there are more people collaborating with you, more people driving traffic to your website, Google understands that there's something about this web page because other people are coming to this page, generating traffic and getting good results that they are expecting. Because let's say they are staying for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds on your page, which means they're spending 30 seconds reading your page, which means there is valuable content. Then we move on to authority ranking, which is Google has a way of deciding the authority of a web page. So let's say a news website like a CNN, that would always be higher, even though we might not agree with the views of a CNN. But we still know that as a news website, it is ranked higher than me saying Salil Dhawan's news website, right? So how does Google do that? It's the same way. The more number of people refer to that website, the more Google think it's ranking higher, and that can only be done by having links, other people link to you, having other people collaborate with you, having other people refer to you, and having more visitors, which is always going to work. So all of that is the off-page SEO. Combine that with on-page using the extensions, using the basic tools available even for free. It's simple. And the third thing is performance, which you can do on Google Search Console, which is just a tool by Google where they have a bot. It crawls your web page, it sees your web page, and tells you what's wrong with it in terms of usability, and then gives you the solution. So all of this is available for free, beginner friendly. You can do it yourself, and it's that simple nowadays because there are all these tools created to help you. So I hope I've answered your questions. In case you have any further follow up on that, we're always here to help.
Thanks, Adil. Fantastic. And there is more information and teaching about SEO in the course. But maybe, Salil, then just taking a step right back and starting with the sort of fundamental question of, what is blogging, why people should get into it, and really just thinking about how we position the course, at that beginner level, and that SEO isn't a criteria, and understanding SEO isn't a criteria, and understanding technical things like WordPress and plugins and all the rest. You don't need to know any of that to just get going with the blogging journey. So just take us right from the beginning. Why should people blog, and what is the best thing to start doing to get going on that journey?
See, the best way of thinking about it now is think about YouTube. A lot of the videos you'll see nowadays don't necessarily have a keyword fill title, right? They don't necessarily have a title that's full of keywords. Why? Because YouTube itself is recommending content based on the content that is part of the video and the other content. That's what happening with blog as well. Without worrying about stuffing keywords, title, and all of that, as long as your content is good, as long as you're providing value, as long as you're sharing it with the world, it'll always work. So, for example, and Peter is a great testament to that. He posted a blog article on LinkedIn. Even if one or two people shared, it got more visitors. Then multiple more people shared, it got more visitors. Before you knew it, it was on the right side of LinkedIn saying LinkedIn Pulse, or now it's just called article. And then it was just featuring on there. Once it featured on there, it got to a even wider audience. So all he did was just post something that he wanted to talk about. Somehow people loved it. Because they loved it, they engaged with it, they liked it, they shared it. And because they shared it, LinkedIn thought that, okay, other people are sharing this must be something worth it. And then it just, this is a virality to it. So don't think about keywords, don't think about SEO, don't think about anything. Just write valuable content. That's what we teach in this course. Just write your heart out, write your passion. We have an entire content strategy section, where my first thing that I always say is just write whatever you're passionate about, write whatever you love talking about. And when you do that, don't worry about the results. It'll all value will be there. So that's the way. Just provide valuable content, and that's the way we do it in the course. That's the way Peter has done it with his 4 or 5 different blogs now, and then that's how we approach this.
Thanks, Salil. And if I could just add my own thoughts on this question of why people should start blogging and how they can get going. For me, the reason that I started blogging was I just wanted to, share my insights, and people through mentoring and coaching and other relationships in my professional network would commonly be asking me certain questions that I had experience or insight about. And blogging for me started to become a very efficient way of packaging those insights and sharing them with many more people a lot quicker than just communicating in one-on-one conversations. And I found myself repeating in a lot of these topics very often. And so when I put something into a blog, it forced me to package it quite properly and articulate my thoughts in writing, such that I was happy to press publish. But once it was up there, whether it was on LinkedIn or my own website, all I had to do is then obviously share that link with people who were asking me those questions. And if we then did have a sort of a one-on-one coaching conversation, we could then assume they had read that, they'd understood my insights on that topic, and then we could talk more specifically about the help that we needed to provide them. And as I developed on my journey of blogging, I got more sophisticated with my own website. I still do blog quite a bit on LinkedIn, but I then extended that to providing thought leadership in my industry and sharing, for example, if I'd had speaking opportunities, what I spoke about and what was useful for the audience, and what would then be useful from that discussion for people that maybe hadn't attended my thoughts as well. But then the other reason that I found was very useful was in my academic and postgraduate research journey. I then started to blog about the findings that I would have discovered in my studies. And it's very important, I think, for academic students to recognize that, although you are sort of living in an academic world, it's actually crucial that you're able to convert that sort of academic research back into more of a contemporary flavor or style of writing and simpler content that people can consume more broadly. Because the only way you're going to create value for the world in your academic studies, if you're able to share it back with the world, and a blog is a fantastic way of doing that. So I think let's just jump into Ola Yenka's question there, which is where she talks about academic blogs. And I think you're absolutely correct. You do need to be a little bit more specific and focused. And you might find that perhaps academic institutions host blogs. And as we explained clearly in the course, blogs and the content of blogs and the reason that people would write blog articles are always going to be grouped around communities and specific areas of interest. And most definitely, if it is an academic blog, you're going to find that there is a lot more of that academic detail and that academic content in the blog, because people will be willing to read a lot more of that academic type of writing because they're already reading similar articles like that on that academic blog. If you take academic content and you try and put it on a more public, general website where people are more used to the simpler SEO friendly sort of type of writing and articles, then you would need to generalize it a lot more. So, Leyenka, absolutely agreeing with you. But that specificity on those academic blogs, again, is going to perhaps be a smaller, more specific audience, again, around that academic content. But if you're able to take that and generalize it and show how it applies to a broader audience on a more general, more widely read blog, then that's an example of taking your academic research and helping make a contribution back into the public. Okay, let's then look at a couple of questions. Lizan has a question there. What makes a blog different from the rest of social media platforms? Salil?
Ideally, social media platforms just allow you to create a post, right? All you're doing is just posting something that's there. But a blog allows you to actually computate information, collect the knowledge, organize it, and then present it in a more presentable manner, which is accessible to the entire world. So how it works is, for example, if you're on social media platforms, first is the privacy aspect or the limitation aspect. If your profile is not public, if you're not posting publicly, it will not be indexed by Google, because Google can only enter Facebook or any platform once it goes through the public space. Now, even though your post is public, you do not get the features to actually post a question, answer the question in an organized manner, and then use multiple tools that we use in a blog. So what Peter has shown in the course in the demo as well is he uses table of contents, he uses bullet points, he uses number lists, he uses different font style. So what the reason behind why he's doing all of that in the blog, images, videos in different places, links, everything that he's doing is to make the information rich, is to create rich content and not just content. And that's how it's actually generating more value for the user. So it starts with a topic like what is the question, or let's say how do you blog, and then it has all the resources and all the information, and that's what makes a blog rich, full of content, and why it's more useful than just a single blog post or a single post on social media. So that's why we've differentiated blogs, and that's how I also do it on LinkedIn specifically. Is I would write something saying that this is how you grow your sales. I'll write one small comment, but then the explanation, the in-depth, the details, the crux of it is organized in a proper manner in a blog article, which allows for better information processing and better information processing for the user, for the consumer. And that's the biggest difference between a social media and a blog.
Thank you, still appreciate that. Just to add a couple of additional thoughts. A blog article, I guess you could think of as a long form type of content, whereas social media is going to be very much more shorter, compressed, condensed form of multimedia. So, for example, Twitter, 140 characters, for example. Instagram, typically, lots of photographs and very visual, and really not much attention given to the description and the actual written content of it. So a blog certainly is still creating content in the general sense of the word, but it is very different from the more social nature of interaction that we have with what we would see on Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram, and other more traditionally social media types of platforms. The link, I think, that is interesting between social media and blog articles is that topics of interest often come up in social media platforms, and you can use those to create a link back to your blog and drive some traffic from the interest that is created around a social media platform or an individual post specifically, that people are then willing to spend a bit more time on and go and consume, again, a long form of that same content. So that would really be, I guess, the difference for me and the link between blogging and the rest of social media. Let's then talk about this great question from Lazan, sticking with you. And let me kick off the answer to this question, then I'll hand back to Salil, because this is an aspect that we do talk about in the course. And the question is, hello, what worth does a blog add to a company? So this is in the broad category of how well a company wants to use thought leadership to add to its brand reputation and the credibility that it wants to achieve in the organization. So what you would want to consider there is that if that company is in a certain industry offering certain products and services, do they have authority and knowledge and intellectual property that informs perhaps the research and the marketing and the development and the distribution and the provision of those products and services? Because if they do have that credibility and authority, it's going to increase the level of trust that people will have with that organization. And trust is obviously going to flow into better, more entrenched customer relationships. So what you typically see is that an organization would then have people willing to write articles in their company, and they would either then post those on their own website or perhaps on LinkedIn. And again, following very similar strategies to what we talk about in the course. Where should you blog? How should you write the article? What should you include in the article? That will always still be an individual, but they might be writing more in a company context that is drawing attention to the fact that the company has access to that knowledge. They perhaps employ that person, and therefore there is an association of the quality of the article and the insights that you get from the article with the quality of the company and the authority and the credibility they have, that you may then be attracted to in order to become a customer. Salil?
Yeah, and going on to that, in a lot of our courses, we talk about establishing trust between a company and a customer, and we do that by creating a freemium model. So let me just give you an example of this accounting firm we recently helped on a project, where what we did was we asked them to create multiple blogs. So what they did was they created a blog on how to create a balance sheet, how to create an income statement, how to analyze financial ratios, and they created all this free information, all this free content on their blog, helping people, giving them free value, giving them additional value. And at the end of every article, all they said was, here you go, here's your information. And if you need help doing it from us personally, refer to our services, and then we'll offer you accounting services. So it was sort of this freemium model which they created, where the blog article would give information on how to create a balance sheet, but then you don't necessarily have to do it yourself. If you need our service, if you just need the information, great, we are happy to help you, and we are glad that we know we could be of service. But if you need us to now do it for you, here's our services, and here's our list of services. Contact us, reach out, and then we'll do the services for you. So that's sort of the freemium model that the company created, and how they are generating exceedingly high amount of traffic with their blogs. And obviously only a percentage of this blog actually convert to people wanting the services, but it's still a great way to generate traffic for the company, establish credibility, provide free value, create a freemium model where they establish trust, and all of that really adds value to their company. And that's how they've effectively used the model for the company, using a blog to generate a lot of business. So they've been very successful in it, and it's one of the great ways you can use blogs to generate business. And
And I
as we are on the topic, Peter, I'd like to go into a little bit of monetization that we've talked about in the blog, because making money from the blog is equally as important as writing it. I say you write for your passion, but when your passion makes you money, it's even better, right? So we have an entire section on monetization in the course, where we talk about primarily all the ways you can monetize your blogs. It can be through ads, it can be through partnerships, it can be through collaboration, it can be selling your own products, selling your own services, selling affiliate products where you sell products of another company. You can be an affiliate partner with Amazon, where you're selling all the products that Amazon offers, but you get a commission off it. So there are all these ways you can make money out of a blog. And in the course, what we've done is we beautifully categorized these forms of monetization based on the number of visitors you have. So when you have less number of visitors, you are less likely to make revenue from ads, right? You're more likely to make revenue from selling products or services. When you have a little higher, you can sell other people's product and make a lot of money from that small commission. When you go one step further, you can then do ads, and you can generate revenue from ads. So all these are different. There are multiple sources of revenue and multiple ways to monetize. But what we've also done in this course is categorize them based on the number of visitors and number amount of traffic you're getting, of which way or which source of monetization will be best for you to access and monetize the course. So I hope, as Peter has posted the link in the chat, that you are part of the course, and then you learn how to blog, and then you get to the monetization section where you actually see that blogging is as much as for passion, as much as it is to share information. It is also a good way to make revenue, and what are the ways you can make revenue out of it.
And I suppose, Salil, coming back to, we were talking about SEO right at the beginning of the webinar. Ultimately, people are on the internet and they're searching on something like Google because they have a question. And SEO and the algorithm behind Google is going to try and help them answer that question as quickly as possible. And people will trust a source that gives that to them as quickly as possible in a well packaged format. And a blog can be very successful in listing 3 things to do to get more time in your diary, or 5 steps to fix your motorbike, or the 3 big takeaways from the new iPhone launch, for example. But then what you were talking about, Salil, was often the call to action that possibly sometimes comes towards the end of the blog and shouldn't be up front in the person's face because they've come to the blog to answer their question. The call to action, once you've established some trust by answering their initial question that they typed into Google, is then, as you've been saying, okay, now click here and you'll go into our services, or click here and go into an affiliate link, or click here and take up one of our other offers, which then is how the monetary value comes through the blog, because you've linked the genuine desire for answering a question with some useful information to further action and more information through products and services that, as you say, then can have some monetary value. And blogging is very powerful for creating that link. And what is the alternative? The other alternative is for people to drive adverts into people where they are already looking and watching existing other content. And sometimes, and we all know it, adverts can be very distracting and irritating, frankly. But if through the blog you've established credibility, like we spoke about just now for a company, there's a higher chance of people then taking action if there is some sort of link or call to action in the blog. So just a very powerful aspect of how you think about going into blogging. So Salil, yes, I've put the link into the chat, and we've invited people to join us in the course for free, which we'd love you to take up and to leave a rating and a review on the course. But Salil, perhaps let's just step through. We give a bit of an introduction there at the beginning. We've spoken about that. I then also give a bit of an introduction to blogging and the sort of masterclass sort of type of approach that we've taken to blogging in the course. And then, Salil, we sort of go into a content strategy. So do you want to talk a little bit about content strategy? Because I think a lot of people joining us today are probably saying, what is it that I should be blogging about? How do I choose the content that I should be writing about? And there's a whole section there that deals with your content strategy for writing a blog.
Yeah. So ideally, and this is the overarching theme of the content strategy, is write what you love, write what you're passionate about, write what interests you. Because at the end of the day, if you do not write what you are interested in, it's going to be monotonous for you. It's going to be boring for you. It look like a chore or a task for you, right? And you don't want that. You don't want blogging to be another task that you have to do, or you don't want blogging to be another responsibility that you have. It has to be fun. It has to be empowering. It has to be inspiring. So the first step where we start is write what you're passionate about. Write what you love talking about, love sharing information, sharing knowledge, and it can even be the fact of what kind of content you consume. So, right? So go on your YouTube, see what kind of content you're already consuming, what kind of videos you're watching. Go on Google, see your search history. So you will have the answer to what you're really passionate about. Then we've discussed in the course as well is using Google Keyword Planner and Google Trends on how you can actually find topics and other subtopics related to what you want to talk about. So let's say you want to talk about cars, or you want to talk about automobiles, Or even in this, we did about blogging because we were going to talk about blogging. So we did an entire keyword search on what kind of keywords there are when it comes to blogging, and what will be the best keyword for us. And then we moved a step further because, as you can see, we saw blogging course for beginners is something that is being searched for a lot. So there are a lot of people who want to get into blogging. They are beginners, and that's where we decided that this is going to be our target. Even though we love talking about blogging and we want to help, but we want to help beginners more because we want to get them started. We want to give them the tools to get started faster. And that's how we use the same strategy that we are teaching you to come up with our content strategy. And that's how you learn, is first using Google Trends, using Google Keyword Planner, and then so it comes up with the topic that you're passionate about, subtopic that you want to talk about, niche which you decide based on Google Trends, and then further actual question that you can answer based on Google keyword research. So that's sort of the entire circle that we've gone through, and that will help you go from the thing you want to talk about to actually what you're going to write about. That's the basic idea behind the content strategy that we've done.
And
And you
then
can see
Salil,
this. Yeah, you
yeah,
can
just
see there's a
talking about
content. Yeah.
finding ideas. Yep.
Yeah, we have a section on content research. Ideally, a lot of people say, okay, you know what, I want to talk about cars. I know I want to talk about the latest cars that are being launched, and I want to talk about their features. But then what kind of features people are looking for in a car, or what kind of features people are interested in a car? That's when we add another step where I say, okay, to find further content ideas, join and eavesdrop on communities. Let's say you join multiple Facebook group, multiple car Facebook groups, and everyone is talking about, what's the best mileage for a car, how can a car be more fuel efficient, something like that. So you know that when you're going to write about the latest car, you're going to write about the fuel efficiency, because that is something that people are more concerned about, rather than, let's say, the leather seats, right? So that's how in communities you find, even in the subtopic niche, what people are really talking about. Or you can ask the target audience saying, hey, the new Renault car is launching, what are your concerns about the car? So then people will give you the answers on what they really want or what they're really asking about the car, and that will help you give them the answers. So there are all these multiple ways that have helped you create strategies on how you can actually figure out what you want to write about and gain more content ideas. Because once you do start writing, you will feel that fatigue. You'll feel that after 5-10 articles, what should I write about, what should be my next topic? That happens to us, all of us, even in our course creation. We're always thinking the next course. So these are great ways to be part of the communities and find more topics that you can write about. And Peter,
Thanks,
maybe you
Salil.
can go into your ways of how to write that you've discussed in the course, quality of writing, structure of a blog, all of that. Would love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Salil. And certainly, I mean, as I said at the beginning, just drawing on my experience, of having multiple blogs and having a bit of an opportunity over the years to experiment with my own writing and my own content strategy and writing for different reasons. And again, this is for me, and it may or may not be relevant to you, but I certainly give some insights into what has worked and what I would suggest you might want to focus on in terms of the actual quality and content of the writing that goes into your article. You need to write as well as you possibly can. Yes, it is a more informal style of writing, but you are going to press publish, whether that's on LinkedIn or on your own website. But again, it's not as formal or expected to be as clear and specific as potentially academic writing. And I have a whole entire course on academic writing. So I don't believe that it's in that category necessarily. And you have to find the right balance for yourself. And then I go into a lesson on the structure of the article, and I give you a little bit of a sort of approach to how you want to lay the article out. I talk about possibly the different paragraphs that you want to do. And one of the reasons that I give you that is because some people, get stuck when they sit down to write, and it's literally a blank sheet of paper. Yes, if you've learned from Salil about a content strategy and what the topic is that you want to write about, you've got lots of ideas. Actually coming up with that structure and the layout then is the action that you need to take, and it's often where people get a little bit stuck. What I found very useful in my blogging journey early on was to have a clear structure. And if that was as simple as, one opening sentence, 4 paragraphs of 5 sentences, and then one closing sentence, then you're working backwards from that end product. You already know what that's literally going to look like on the screen. And you know that you then need to have a punchy opening title under a good image, with then 3 or 4 ideas that you capture in a number of different paragraphs, with a closing statement at the end. And Salil, also what I talk about is, and we mentioned about the SEO of the title and getting people onto the blog, and what route you need to take from the title. So you need to have something that's interesting and will keep people reading. You don't want to go into a lot of detail. You can put hyperlinks to other articles that helps them, give them a bit more background. But you want to quickly get the reader to the crux of what you have to say about a topic. And they've come to you because they want to hear from you. And if you're a little bit opinionated, or you've got the experience and the skills and the credentials to make a statement about something, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And you think about headlines that we read in the newspapers, or and it's not about being clickbaity, because if you don't meet people's expectations, then they won't come back to read your writing again. But you can, experiment with punchy titles, punchy opening sentences, but then the content of the articles really got to talk to why you feel that, what evidence or anecdotal examples you can give for that, and what you feel is the difference that your view will make in other people's lives, or the impact that this issue is talking about, and that people, if they had more information about it, might result in some or other different result. And once you get them going through the article, very important also that you manage their expectations about how long that article is going to be, and how much more reading time they're going to have to allocate, to get a full picture of what it is that you're talking about. And what you'll see on some very professional blogs, and particularly, for example, on McKinsey's website, you'll see a little scroll bar. And I think a couple of others have this as well. And you'll see exactly how much more of the blog article you have to read before getting to the end. And obviously, if you're just starting out on LinkedIn, you don't have to be as fancy as that. And I would just put there 1 of 5 paragraphs, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5, 5 of 5, and people would know exactly at what stage they were at during the article, so that they knew how long they had to stick around to get some more value from it. And of course, the quality of the writing, and my own input on the topic, should also be important and valuable enough to keep them going through the article itself. All right, then, Salil, I guess we want to talk about the assignment that we give them in the course, and many people will have been coming to this webinar and will register and enroll into the course because they want to take action. It's very valuable to get the information about blogging, but really our goal is for you to get a blog article done. If you've been stuck in your blogging journey, or you've never blogged before, if you go through our course and you do the assignment, you will write a blog article. So, Salil, over to you, just to give us a sense of the importance of taking action and starting to get your blog articles out there, and how this course will help people achieve that.
Yeah, Peter, if you can just move down to the demo section where you've actually done that, that'll be very helpful. Because in this section, what you'll see is Peter has actually given not just his, how to do it, but in the 19 lecture, where his LinkedIn article writing demo, he's actually gone in, and we'll just share with you actually, how like this is what a homepage looks like. And then when you enter in on the homepage, you just click write article, right? And when you click write article, it just opens up. It's as simple as that. So you don't need your own website, you don't need any other tools that other courses might talk about. All you can do is just write a short headline and get going, right? It's the easiest way to get going. A lot of people have audiences on LinkedIn, following on LinkedIn, which you can access, and then immediately you have a place where you can write an article. You have an audience that you can pitch to, and that'll help you get going very fast. And in this lecture, it's a 12-minute demo, but Peter has gone in depth into how to actually write it, what is the way to writing it, what are the available features that you have on a LinkedIn Write blog article. But idea behind this is simply that to get you to write an article right away. You don't need to wait for your website to load or you create a website. You don't need to pay anywhere. You don't need to spend money, time learning to code. You don't need to do anything. You just get started right away on LinkedIn, and that's very simple. And through this demo, you can just follow along on what are the tricks, what are the tips, and how to simply just write. That's what we're trying to get you to write. And at the end, in this course, what we do is, you can, when you write a blog and when you write the article, we have a huge following together. And then what we do is, with the following we have, you can use hashtag Peter Alkema, hashtag Salil Dhawan. And then what we do is, then we post your article and we share it with our audience as well. So what you do get is, you get that initial audience with us, is there to read your blog article, to help you get that initial traction, get growth, get reviews, get a feedback, and that'll help you to the entire journey, from thinking what you want to write about, actually writing on LinkedIn blog, getting started, once you publish it, sharing it, and getting, after you share it, getting that initial publicity, and then following that cycle over and over. And again, there's another section on consistency, on how, once you've completed the cycle of launching an article, you do it consistently, so that you have a consistency, people expect valuable content from you, and after a year, 2 years, 5 years, you have a huge library of valuable content that people can access at any point. So that's how we sort of get you going in this course.
And I think, Salil, doing that assignment and getting going and following the demo that we give you is that first and most important step. And we will then boost, the traffic to that article by sharing it with our audience. And what's great, I think, is in the course, and what I'm showing now is then, as you say, in a few years' time, then what you might want to sort of aim for in terms of having a library of blog articles on your own website through which you can monetize and put calls to action for people to take up your products and your services and your offering, etc. And I sort of go through my website leadership insights there and show some of the blog articles that I've written over the years, and then give you examples, I think, of that quality of writing and the structure of writing that I advise in the course. So, Salil, then any thoughts on, so fantastic. We want people to take action, do the assignment, write their first blog article, preferably on LinkedIn, because that's the quickest and the easiest route to do that. But then, and once they get the consistency, they can look forward to growing and maturing and becoming more sophisticated in their blogging journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they can grow and keep growing in terms of blogging, because there's no end to it, right? There are people who started a personal blog and now have multi-million-dollar companies just from that blog. TechCrunch is a great example. TechCrunch was just started by someone in their home, just writing one article at a time, and now it's a big news outlet. It's huge. So you can form multi-million-dollar companies as well from just writing. So that's what we want you to do is start writing today, get started, and once you get started, then there are a lot of future opportunities and a lot of ways you can end up in the future, which you can do through that. Even in this blog article, the demo you're seeing of peteralkema.com, you see that Peter has used affiliate links of books that you can buy that are related to the course, that will make him certain amount of money. But at the end of the day, but it's not there to annoy you, it's not there to bother you. The idea is, whatever he's teaching, he's also saying that I've gotten the code from the book, I've read the book, and this book has helped me, and so it'll help you too. So the book is sort of valuable content, additional content, but at the same time, it is a link, it is an affiliate link, so you do generate revenue from it, but it's helping and then making money. So in your blog journey as well, once you do get started, you can form multiple source of revenues, multiple ways to monetize, and then you can just decide your own future, your own journey, once you've started, once you start seeing results, once you've started seeing traction, and once you become consistent.
Thanks, Salil, and thanks, Carl, there for your comment. Thanks, guys. Very helpful. Definitely going to check out the course. Please introduce yourself in the course. There's a feature there where, as you come into the course, right in the introduction section, after Salil and myself have introduced ourselves, you have the opportunity then to introduce yourself to everybody else. Tell us all what your goals are so that we can encourage you and support you. And it's, I think, Salil, just been fantastic to browse through those introductions and see where people are in this journey of blogging and to understand what they want to achieve with the course and with blogging more generally. So, Salil, any of those that stick out for you in terms of how we've already helped students on their journey? There's a couple here that I can put there, but just thoughts on what students have gained from doing this course and what they've shared in those introductions as part of the course, which can perhaps encourage people on this webinar to join these students and take action and continue their blogging journey?
Peter, the sentence that I also told you and what got us started on creating this course was, I have so much I want to write about. I just don't know how to start. That's something everyone has that concern. A lot of people on the webinar as well. I'm sure you can relate to the sentence of, I want to share what I have something. I want to write about something. I just don't know how to start. I just don't know how to get going. I'm just not able to that's where we come in. That's what we wanted to do with this course, get you over that hurdle of, you want to write about something, you have valuable information, you have something you want to share. We just wanted to get you over that small little hurdle of actually getting started, getting going, and then once you get going, this journey becomes a lot easier. So that's why we've created a beginner's course where we get you started with the least amount of hurdles, least amount of difficulties, because we know in a lot of blogging courses people talk about WordPress, how to create a WordPress website, and that's just another hurdle where we do not want in your way. We don't want you to worry about WordPress. Could you buy hosting, then host your website, learn about WordPress features, install a theme, go to post, create a blog, learn about off-page SEO, on-page SEO, all of that stuff. We don't want you to stop you from your journey to actually just, all you want to do is express yourself, right? You want to share your thoughts, and that's what we've done. We've just tried to remove all those hurdles, all those limitations, and get you the best, quickest way to get started. So at least you write your heart out, you write what you want to talk about, and you get your thoughts out. I think that's what we've tried to do with this course, and I hope we are able to help you get started as much as we can.
And Salil, the most important type of writing that we would ask people to do, in addition to their blog, is to write a review and to give us a rating on the course. Just
Yeah.
let's be clear about what we're asking people to do. We've given them free access into the course, and we would really just like that rating and an honest, objective review in the course as well.
Yeah. See, at the end of the day, even for your blog as well, blogs work on, or internet works on social proof, right? We all want each other's help to be able to communicate what we're talking about. So at the end of the day, your blog, as long as people are sharing it, people are saying that they've got value out of it, they're giving honest feedback, they're taking time to give constructive feedback, it'll always help because it helps you to learn. This the same way we approach our courses as well. We want your help, we want your feedback, we want your constructive criticism. We want you to let us know how we can do better, or how we've helped you write an article. And ideally, what we want to hear is how we've helped you overcome the first obstacle. You've written your first article on LinkedIn, you share, you tag us so that we can share your article further as well. And then and we love that. Love nothing more than just to read your first article, share it with our audiences, and just be able to read it, experience it, and know that we've contributed in your life in some way. We've removed some obstacle from your life and helped you grow. So that's the standpoint where I come from, and I hope we can help you do that.
Great, Salil. Well, I think let's give everyone a chance to go and start writing as soon as possible after this webinar. And I'm going to just pop the link to the course into the chat once again. And please do take action and enroll in the course. Take advantage of that free link there. Of course, once you've enrolled, you'll always have access to the course itself. And, we look forward to then seeing you introduce yourself in the course so that we can respond to you and encourage you, just like we showed you there on the screen for one of our students. And of course, we'd love it then once you've written your blog article to tag us. You can either do hashtag Peter Alkemer or hashtag Salil Dhawan, or connect with us on LinkedIn, and we'll accept your connection request, and then you can at us. So just type at and you'll see our names come up. And once you've done that, we can then share that and celebrate your first blog article, or one that's going to get you unstuck and back into blogging on a regular basis, and support your ongoing experience with blogging. So great to see that we've got some people registering for the course there already. And then Ole Yinko, also thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to next week's webinar. And we hope that you all have a super weekend. Salil, do you want to say goodbye to everybody, and last
Yeah,
thoughts on
yeah.
going with blogging?
I just want to thank everyone who's joined this webinar. I just thank you all for your support. I can already see there are a lot of people enrolling, so that's great for us. That's great support. And I just hope that we can add value in your life, because that's what we do as course creators. We started our course creation journey just to help as many people as we can, make information accessible, make information easier to consume, learn difficult topics easily, and that's our objective. So I hope we help you with this blogging course, and we also see you in all other courses. And then we look forward to seeing you over and over and being part of our journey, being part of our community. Thank you.
Super. Thanks, Salil. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Have a super afternoon and a fantastic weekend ahead. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.